Hey guys, Sapphire Yagami with the review of the final episode of season 3 summer season of Teen Wolf. Um, Also, since this was the uh, last episode of the summer season, um, apparently the iTunes website had leaked this episode to season pass subscribers, and they caught it, but most people, they already had copies of the digital file, made it onto some illegal file sharing websites, which made the executive producer have to Jeff Davis issue a public plea to fans like, don't show it yet. And then like a lot of people was even putting up pictures of like screenshots of the last episode. I was like, hey, I don't want to see this. I don't spoil it for me. Don't spoil it for people. I want to see it. So I watched it last night, and it was good. If you have not seen it, try to catch a rerun or try to find some way to watch it, because it was good. It was freaking awesome. It was awesome. So the show starts off with Styles, Skies, and Allison waking up in their water-filled metal tubs. They find themselves in this large bright room with support posts spaced evenly and whatnot. Then we have the only other things they have up in there is fluorescent light fixtures set into the ceiling above, and random areas of gray and white tiling on the floor. As they exit the tub, they notice a large tree stump that's protruding through the floor. It's the Nemeton. It is surrounded by cracked tiles as has forced its way up into the room. The three friends approach it, and Scott takes notice of the rings that mark the stump. He lifts up his sleeveless t-shirt to reveal his tattoo, which seems to mimic the tree's growth rings. Scott then flashes back to the day Derek helped restore the tattoo using fire. He remembers telling Derek that he didn't know what it meant that the image was just something I traced with my fingers. Scott then reaches down to touch his stomach, and he finds himself in the woods on the first night he got bit, which would be by the alpha werewolf in season 1. While this is all part of the post-mortem hallucination, it is clear that this is more than a flashback as Scott watches himself discover Laura Hale's body and then sees the attack that made him a werewolf. As he begins to back away from the scene, he then bumps into the Nemeton, which is apparently somewhere in the Beacon Hills Preserve. We then have Styles also finds himself back on the night Scott got bit. He arrives a bit earlier, seeing himself leading Scott through the woods and searching for a dead body. He watches as his father catches the other Styles and escorts him out of the woods. Styles' vision quest ends up with him too bumping into the Nemeton stunt. And then we have Allison. She's in the car with her mom, Victoria, and they're talking about the unique requirements of a husband's job, a highly respected private security consultant, and a federal licensed firearms dealer. Allison says it's still odd when he runs out in the middle of the night with the duffel bags filled with automatic weapons. Then at that moment, Allison sees someone in the road ahead. Mr. Argent swerves and barely misses hitting Scott. This is also the night that Scott got bit and he runs into the road after the attack. Allison says that her mother turned back to the scene, but Scott is gone. Noticing tracks leading into the woods, Allison follows and finds Scott's inhaler lying on the ground. Her mother arrives and tries to drag her back in the car. They hear a wolf howl. Miss Argent takes the inhaler from Allison and throws it back into the woods, where it lands at the feet of Allison Argent. Looking to her side, she sees the Nemeton. So we have Scott, Styles, and Allison. They wake back up in the vet clinic, and they all like, oh my god, they're kind of talking about their visions and how like pretty much they was all kind of there at the same time on the night Scott got bit. But then they informed by Dr. Deaton that y'all been in the water for 16 hours. And they have just 4 hours before moonrise. I'm like, whoo, that was a long hallucination. Lord, 16 hours, they missed everything. Then we have on the loft, we have Cora holding a bottle of water to Derek's mouth, trying to help him drink. As he comes around, he realizes that she is healed, and he says her health returned because of him. Peter chimes in, hoping that saving Cora won't be for nothing. He's morose, finding Derek that you drain your battery all the way to the red, and there's a fully charged Alpha on her way to rip you from them. Back to Styles and them. Styles is trying to talk to Skies and return to the Alpha, saying that Skies' deal with the Deucalion sounds a lot more like a deal with the devil. Skies is adamant, though. He doesn't believe that they can defeat Jennifer without the Alphas. Allison tries to get Dean to talk Scott out of it, but Dean, he kind of got the point. He says sometimes circumstances require you to ally yourself with people you can't trust, but you can use to your advantage. In this case, Dean believes Deucalion could be the bait for Jennifer, because that's who she really wants, Because he ordered Kali to kill. Hey, go kill everybody in your pack and kill, including your emissary. You know, that's our main target. We then have Ethan arriving at the animal clinic. He's looking for Lydia in hopes that she can talk his brother out of helping Kali to kill Derek. Back at the Nemeton, we have Chris Argent fiddling with his ultrasonic emitter in hopes of attracting the werewolf's attention. He tells the sheriff and Miss Call that the poor power source won't last much longer. Melissa seems on the edge of panic as she explains that Jennifer will come down and slash her throat. The sheriff is blunt and says that Jennifer actually stringed him with a garrote and then slashed her throat. But before they can dwell on this, the root cellar begins to shake and dust seeps down the captives at the Windhauser side. It is about to go down. That's all you guys need to know. So Lydia and Ethan go to Derek. Ethan warns him that Connie is aware of the lunar eclipse and will not wait for it to make them all polished, even in the playing field. Peter advises that they run instead of, kind of getting slaughtered by the alpha with the psychotic foot fetish. Cora says that Derek should lose his life for something meaningless, and Derek asks him how they know he's going to lose. Peter says he doesn't know, but he believes Lydia does. Lydia says she feels like she's standing in a graveyard. Scott sends Styles to the house to get something from him smell so he can track his dad down, and he decides to not, and there's a discussion on whether it's going to be boxers or shorts, and Scott's like, I'm not going to smell your dad's boxers. That's just, I'd rather do socks. So Scott, Isaac, and Afton go to the Argent's apartment on a similar mission, but they are waylaid by Scott's dad and two sheriff deputies. Scott has an awkward moment with his father. Agent McCall admits that he doesn't have a clue what's going on, and Scott throws in one-liner about how he learned his father didn't have a clue a long time ago. I'm like, ooh, burn. McCall says he's hoping to avoid the embarrassment of dragging his own son into an interrogation room. The alarm sounds at Derek's loft, and Kali kicks it right off the wall. She is frustrated that only Lydia and Ethan remain aloft while she demands to know where Derek has gone, and Lydia says shopping. Kali pulls out, who you think you're talking to? And Lydia says someone in desperate need of a pedicure. Kali closes in on Lydia. Aiden begins to ground at Kali and steps for a militancy. Downstairs, we have Cora and Derek climb to the car. Peter advises them not to call until they are at least 100 miles away. Back to Agent McCall. He explains that it's kind of disturbing that all the later victims are related to Scott and his friends, and Isaac decides his breath because he uses a boost and pops out a container of icebreaker mints. He then points out that he doesn't have parents for someone to kidnap because they're dead. Scott notices 3 flashbang arrows on the desk in front of him. Kali is questioning if Aiden took his assignment too close to Lydia too seriously. He claims Lydia isn't the problem. Kali says the problem is Aiden's loyalties with whom they lie. Lydia words aloud that the situation is escalating to violence. We didn't have Jennifer crashing through with the skin aside like she is like some ninja or something. Jennifer lands on the feet in a pile of broken glass. Kali goes on an attack. Jennifer easily repels her with a combination of moves and a magical force. The twins take up the fight. Stripping off the shirts and beginning murder, Jennifer grabs the head, one at each hand, rips them apart. She throws them to opposite sides of the room. And Jennifer then faces off with Kali. She tells the Alpha to take a good look at her and points out how hard it is to maintain her moral looks. Kali says she doesn't care. Jennifer continues that maintaining her appearance takes power, and she demonstrates by causing the broken shards of glass of the skylift to lift the ground floor around her. Now, my thing is, okay, I know Kali is an alpha, but this broad over here is levitating glass, and last time I checked, you ain't immune to glass, boo-boo. You is not immune to glass, boo-boo. Okay? So, Jennifer's up here levitating these pieces of glass. Kali's was like, girl, you ain't. And she's talking about, I should rip your head off. I should have ripped your head off. And then what Jennifer does, makes the glasses flick them toward Kali, impaling her ass. I'm like, you stupid bitch. You're not immune to glass. You're not freaking Superman where glass can't hurt you. You ain't Superman. You a wolf. You're a person. You can bleed. And you did, and you dead. Done. So then we have the twins recovering enough to stagger forward and merge, and then Jennifer breaks their neck, leaving the creature there. I'm like, oh Lord, she done killed all of them. Oh, this is just terrible. We again go over to Styles, who's driving through the storm, and he's trying to race toward his rendezvous with Scott and the others, and he ends up crashing, so he's out for a minute. Agent McCall threatens to detain Scott and Isaac, and Allison says he can't. And Allison says you can't do that without a warrant, which is pretty much true. And McCall says, well, technically with these pile of guns I found in your apartment, it's probable enough cause to hold them. Addison's like, well, my daddy is a highly respectable private security consultant and a federal licensed arms dealer, and pretty much with him being a licensed arms dealer, he can have these guns. So she starts naming some of the items or something like the crossbow, the Marine combat knife, the Desert Eagle handgun, and the smoke grenade with a pull ring igniter. And she picks that one up and drops the grenade. I'm like, you stupid idiots, y'all did not see they coming. The broad is getting up. Obviously, she knows the weapons in her daddy's house. Yeah, I'm gonna just let her pull up the grenade that she's, talking about and let her pull the trigger. Idiots. So as that, the grenade gives them time to run away. They head off to their destination. Lydia is stuck with Jennifer, asking what the Rock wants from her. Jennifer replies that she wants Lydia to do what she does best, and then, scream, and Lydia shows the girl her true face, and Lydia screams very long. Meanwhile, Derek and Cora can hear Lydia, and Derek's like, we have to go back. As Scott and Isaac arrive at the Beacon Hills Preserve, they're worried that none of them have heard from Styles. Isaac said they can't wait, and they head into the woods. Buchanan joins Addison, Isaac, and Scott on the rise of the overlook Beacon Hills. Scott apparently is expected to see the Alpha as well. Buchanan said they're occupying themselves with other pursuits. Scott questions the fact that it will be the two of them, Scott and Deucalion against Jennifer. Deucalion says they'll make a great team. Scott gives orders to Isaac, says he has to get Styles and then off to the root cellar with Scott and Deucalion, keeping Jennifer busy, so their parents can escape. When Isaac questions how Scott will manage to do that, he says that he has a plan. Both Collie and the Murray twins seem to be dead on Derek's floor. Cora comforts Lydia. Jennifer tells Derek that she did all of this for him and anyone else who's fallen the victim. Like, don't try to play that. I did this for you, Derek. I did this for us. He doesn't want you no more, okay? Don't you get that? He don't want you no more. Okay? Get that in your head. He don't want you no more. I'm like, I'm not sure what Jennifer is not getting from this. He don't want you. I'm doing this for us. Who's ever been hurt by the Alpha Pack? Shut up. So he pretty much tells her to stop talking like a politician, trying to convince him of her cause. And she says that she don't have to kill the parents. She just needs somebody to help her. If Derek becomes a guardian, then she don't have to kill the parent. Because that's what she said. That's why she still needs them. She needs them. And he says that, he's no longer an alpha. And she says doesn't matter. She just needs to get Deucalion in the right place at the right time. Derek looks around and notices that the rest of the alpha is dead. So he's like, you sure you need my help? And she says, yes, she needs the help because you haven't seen Deucalion at his strongest. And whew, when you see him, you're going to be like, what? And so Derek agrees to help her. But that means he will also have to, deal with Scott because Scott is with Deucalion. And eclipses will last at least 15 minutes with me. He will be powerless and, she'll be able to, attack and do her thing. So they decide they're going to, go get Deucalion. Addison and Isaac search the woods for the Nemeton. He says he can't pick up a scent, but he ends up hearing the emitter. So they like, okay, we're going to go toward the emitter. So they find it. And as they find it, the giant stump begins to give way with sinkholes forming on the surface. Chris is happy to see his daughter. The sheriff and Melissa ask about the kids. Like, where's Styles? Where's, Scott? They know this broad is crazy. Like, hold on, where my kids? For my kids? They're like, they're fine. Even though nobody knows what happened to Styles yet. Scott and Deucalion arrive at the distillery. He sends a video text to Jennifer. And talking about if you want them, if pretty much come here if you want your revenge. So now we have 29 minutes left until the lunar eclipse. The ceiling is collapsing around the parents. Isaac tries to hold up the little beam in there so, they kind of don't get squished to death. Lydia and Corey go to Dr. Deaton for help because the twins are still alive. And he said he can only save them. They kind of pretty much got to start healing their own because he can only do so much. Y'all remember they're wolves. Ooh. So Jennifer arrives at the distillery. Scott is surprised to see Derek with her. Scott asks what he is doing. Derek says he's going to try to help. Deucalion makes a quip, brother against brother, how very American. Deucalion begins to shift, and so his skin takes on the texture and color of stone, while his brow ridge thickens, expands, and merges with his cheekbones to form a mask-like structure of bone. His ears, fangs, and hair grow, and his voice deepens as he encourages Jennifer to explain why she needed so much power to face him. And there's a little editor's note that says Deucalion says that shall we know why you needed to sacrifice 9 innocent people just to face me, or is it 12 now? This has caused much discussion among fans. There has been 12 sacrifices shown or talked about during season 3. Details of each are available in the section on the Doc I'm on the Teen Wolf Wiki reading this. Possible explanations for this include: A. Deucalion isn't all-knowing, so isn't aware of all the sacrifices. B. Some of the sacrifices were not innocent. C. Just Davis is bad at math when it comes to keeping track of events, years, and ages of characters. For now, until proven otherwise, official canon is that Deucalion simply doesn't know or doesn't care about all the sacrifices and is taunting Jennifer about how much she needed to do to prepare to meet someone as powerful as he. So Deucalion easily dispatches Derek and Jennifer. Her magic force blast that was so effective against the other alphas pretty much have zero effect on Deucalion. He subdues her and demands that Scott kill her. Now we all know that if Scott kills, his eyes gonna turn blue, and he will no longer be a true alpha, which was, as Miss Moriel said, was what he wants. Scott is a true alpha because he does, it's by his sheer will that he becomes alpha. He didn't take nobody's life. He didn't, the other ways of them becoming an alpha. He's true alpha by sheer will. And so I'm just like, oh my God, don't kill her, Scott. Don't kill her. Don't kill her. Don't do it. So he then lets out a roar to bring Scott to his knee and pretty much force him to transform because, he's an alpha, forcing him to transform, kind of like the alpha thing. And so Deucalion makes more of a measured approach, whispering to Scott that his mom and the other parents are dying. Jennifer is using Storm to bury them alive, and Deucalion says killing Jennifer will save them. Jennifer points out that killing her won't be the end. She says Deucalion will make Scott kill everyone he loves. Deucalion urges Scott to become the alpha he was meant to be, become a killer. Scott says the parents aren't dead yet and that his pack will save them. Isaac's pretty much losing strength as the beam he's holding up begins to slip because we're getting closer to that eclipse. Dr. Dean places oxygen masks on Ethan and Aiden and preparing a syringe of some unnamed clear liquid. Deucalion drops Jennifer and rushes Scott, grabbing him and trying to pretty much force him to kill Jennifer. Scott tells Deucalion that he forgot something. He forgot to tell Deucalion, something Gerard told him. He points out that Deucalion is not always blind and drops two of the flashbang arrowheads we saw earlier at the Argent's apartment. Deucalion and Derek are partially blinded by flash, and then at that moment, the eclipse begins, and the effects are immediate as Derek, Scott, and Deucalion return to their human form. Just as the last of the cellar roofs are down, about to bury the parents and their would-be rescuers, Styles arrives and shows the aluminum bat under the eclipse. Shoves an aluminum bat under the collapsing beam, shoving up and giving them all some extra time. Styles and his father embrace. I'm like, oh. Jennifer, in her scarred battle form, enters and throws Scott across the room because obviously it affects her too. She lands on Deucalion and begins to bash his head into the cement floor. Derek plays up to Jennifer's victim mentality by saying that Deucalion hasn't seen how she suffered because technically he's sort of blind. We all saw how that happened. Jesus. And so she heals his eyes, restoring his sight, but also weakening herself to the point that she is unable to deliver the killing blow. She urges Derek to do it for her. Derek refuses, saying his mother told him he's a predator, but that doesn't mean he has to be a killer. Jennifer turns on him and begins beating him. Derek flashes back to when Cora and Boy, maddened by 3 months in the vault, slashing at him, and then the shadow passes from in front of the moon, and Derek gets his strength back. Jennifer steps away and tosses mountain ash into the air. It forms a perfect circle around her. She says since Derek won't help her, she'll kill the parents and then have the power she needs to kill Deucalion and the rest of them. Scott steps up to the line of mountain ash and pressures, and then as he, goes in, she's like, you tried this last time, it didn't work. So, as he continues to apply, constant pressure and whatnot, his eyes go from yellow, then become straight up red. Jennifer then looks worried as Scott's hands seem to be pushing past the barrier until he finally breaks through with a release of energy that knocks Jennifer to the floor. She is astonished as are Dukeli and Derek, like, what? Scott says he's an alpha now and that demands that she end the storm and let the parents go. He says if she won't, he will kill himself. I don't care what it does to the color of my eye. Dukeli says it won't do a thing to my eyes, and he slashes her throat. I'm like, dang. He really did not give a crap about her. He's like, don't care what to do my eyes. Slash. I'm like, ooh. Should have seen that because I'm just saying. So at the nick of time, the storm ends, and everybody's like, yeah, we survived. At the clinic, we have the twins waking up, and Aiden tells, I say Elian. Aiden tells Lydia that he knew she liked him. Scott calls Styles and says he'll come and get them. Styles says bring a ladder. Derek reminds Dukelian that he was once a man of vision. Derek and Scott have decided to let Dukelian go in hopes that he can become a man again. Scott is less poetic, saying if Dukelian doesn't stop his evil ways, that having his eyesight back won't matter because you'll never see us coming. I'm like, oh. Chris Argent is putting away his weapons. Allison, they should say keep them close because the Neptune, as we know, is a beacon for supernatural creatures, and who knows what we gonna get? Cause I can't wait. And she said they might prepare to fight if they must. She said they'll need a new code, so she says this thing in French, which I'm not even gonna sit here and try to pronounce because I may be from New Orleans, but I do not know any French like that. I took Spanish and Japanese. I didn't take it French. Well, I'm learning Japanese. So her dad translates for us. We protect those who cannot protect themselves. There we go. I like that credo. I like that. Derek and Cora leave the loft with packed bags, and a voiceover Scott explains that he doesn't know if Derek is ever coming back. So Derek and Cora and them going to go on a nice little trip. Don't know if they're going to come back for the winter premiere. Agent McCall comes to Scott's room and knocks. Scott opens the door and promptly closes it in his father's face. Melissa around the corner looks pleased as the daddy diss. Scott's voiceover then explains that his dad is staying around for a while, but that he won't be welcoming his son's life. As he enters the high school, Scott sees Aiden and Lydia flirting near the lockers. Danny and Ethan exit the classroom hand in hand. Allison and Isaac share a laugh as they descend upstairs. Scott says he and Styles feel the darkness Deedon said they would. It feels like the Joseph Conrad Heart of Darkness quote. Like he's looking into the heart of an immense darkness. He says instead of looking at the darkness, he looks for his friends. Styles comes up behind him and wraps an arm around his shoulder. Scott looks genuinely happy. Deedon asks about Mrs. Blake, but Scott says he doesn't know what happened to her, saying her body disappeared from the distillery. In the woods, we have Jennifer calling them times like, please help me again, please help me. And then she tries to reach out for Stump. Somebody grabs her. Hey, it's Peter. Hell. She's like, oh, of course it's you. She says everyone suffers, but somehow Peter comes out on top. She says now that Scott's an alpha, you'll be able to steal it from him and be an alpha again. Peter balks at the word again. He slashes her throat and she seems dead. Peter claims he's already the alpha and then screams that he's always been the alpha. I'm like, dude, you got a weird big ego. So at this point, he's pretty much a self-proclaimed alpha due to the fact that while he says this, his eyes are still blue and not red. He's a self-proclaimed alpha. I'm like, dude, you have some issues. So pretty much that was all for season 3 of Teen Wolf Lunar Eclipse. It was a pretty good episode. Scott is now alpha. Alpha. Derek and Cora gonna take a nice little trip. Dukelian's still alive. Jennifer is dead. Peter got some issues. I think Allison and Isaac might get together. I don't know. That's the feeling I'm getting. Who knows? We won't know until Teen Wolf comes back on January 16th for the winter premiere. Woo woo. So I will see you guys next time. Until then.